Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into my channel, Huub Hildenbrand Guitar Academia. Today we will go on with this concept of tonal framework, and we will take a kind of a journey through the different concepts and layers in the harmonic series. And there is a PDF down in the description below which you really should download and have it in front of you, because I also have that here and I'm referring to that, and we will just go through this PDF. So it will make a lot of things easier for you, and also it supports my channel. So it would be great if you would just do that. Okay, thank you. All right, this is a continuation, this lesson, from I12 until I15, and also I always means intermediate, 38. And this lesson is also like comes into this area of trying to get a more like systematic, structured approach to music in general. So not describing a certain style, a certain culture, a certain specific music, but more take music as a whole and try to find somehow a kind of a system, or like what we also did with the 9 elements of music, to really music is like this endless thing, or more than a thing, and how can we get like kind of an orientation there, you know, where if we find something, like anything, like a chord, a note, or like a microtone, or like whatever, where does it belong in our like huge shelf of music, or can we make it more approachable, the whole thing, you know? Can we get a kind of a structure which gives us the possibility to get more like to see it, to be able to see like all these different musical outcomes of all these cultures more in a comprehensive way, you can say. And so the idea also with that lesson and these tonal framework lessons is in this here it's like to focus on harmonic or melodic material, and try not to see like a certain music, a specific style or whatever as our focus, but more come from, in this case, we take the harmonic series. We take the harmonic series because that is always there, you know, in every culture around the globe. The harmonic series is working. So every culture has to somehow refer to that or deal with that. And mostly we take it very serious, because we feel when we follow these laws which are presented, especially with the first like partials, then we feel, oh, this feels right, this feels natural, or this feels good. All right, so let's take our journey here. So we already talked about tonal framework 1, 2, and 3. Yes, so framework 1 was like the octave with a perfect fifth. Just these 3 notes, this octave, and in the middle you have this perfect fifth. And framework 2 was like, instead of the perfect fifth, we had a perfect fourth. And framework 3 was to have both. To have the octave, for example, C. We do everything on C here to make it easy and to understand, quick, and not to transpose too much. So we always have this C, this octave, and framework 3 is like C, F, G, C. Yeah, and you have this all, it's also written here or in these other lessons you should check out actually. Yeah, these explanations on the tonal framework, starting with intermediate lesson I2, no, I12. 12, 13, 14, 15, and 38. Okay, what I did here in the example 1 is to think about ways how we can divide the octave, how we can insert notes into the octave, and but avoiding any major and minor second, because major and minor seconds they will always kind of create or they will always, you can say they will always try to fight against each other. They will always in a way they will destabilize the framework, the basic I mean, like a stable harmonic structure or vertical structure. If you have like seconds in that, they will always create tension. And mostly, you also will group them into that is the note of the basic framework or the chord tone, and this is like actually making this sound, the whole vertical structure stable. And these are like added tones, which are like to get it more colorful, have more more interesting sound, more like maybe some like tensions added. And of course, they as the name suggests, tensions is like working against something. That's also true actually for framework 3. Yeah. So framework 3 is more like two frameworks in one, you can say, because normally what happens, you are not like taking the whole framework 3 like C, F, G, C as like a stable sound, but or tonality in a way, but you kind of alternate between these two frameworks. So either you are on framework 1 or you are on framework 2, but these both are so strong and so powerful, and they are like present in most of the Turkish makam scales, in the raga scales, and like everywhere, you know, it's like because these are all these perfect intervals, and this tendency to have these strong intervals somehow included is very, very strong, very, very much present. So yeah, but of course, this framework 3, you create a major third between the fourths and the fifths. And these, of course, they are working against each other. So it's not like stable. This major second is not stabilizing in a way like the tonality, but it creates in a way it creates two kind of tonalities, which at the end work like there's actually one, and there's a little fourth which leads away from the tonality, and this other fourth which is very close, which is just a major second above the subdominant. It's called the dominant, wants to resolve back to the tonic. So there's already some kind of it's very stable, all these stable intervals, but there's a kind of gravitational movement already implied, or yeah. All right, it's a bit like yeah, it's I have to admit that it's not like I'm still searching. Yeah, I'm still in this kind of a process where I'm finding, where I try to find like systematic approaches, ways which really work. And what I'm presenting here on this Guitar Academia seems to me very like in a way like very profound, very right and working. Because I see this from these different perspectives, like Indian raga music, Turkish Makam music, European classical music, and some others. And I feel this is really like kind of the backbone, or the theory, what all these different cultures share in a way. But of course, music is such a thing that it's like it has much more possibilities than correct theory. Of course, it's about emotion and expression. So so there, I mean, to find the theory or the description, and that's the thing. It's yeah, it makes no sense in a way, but. There are certain laws which you find when you look for that, and then you can actually, when you analyze a certain kind of any music, any culture, any style, then you can observe how these different rules and laws and this backbone of harmonic series and these intervals of fourths, perfect intervals and major minor intervals, how they actually are working in that, or how this culture deals with that, how this culture is creating tonality, or how, yeah, this all these questions you can answer quite easily, mostly because you have this system and this systematic. And so you know how like tonality can be created. So you just have to, I mean, the different ways. So you just observe this culture, this musical style, and see how this is applied there. Yeah. So the knowledge of this backbone kind of a thing where all cultures have to relate to. That is very useful to understand a lot of things in music. In this case, like harmonic and melodic movements and combinations, and they're really they have to refer to that to these kind of natural laws. Okay. Back to the page here, the 2 pages, the PDF. Example 1. Example 1 is where I try to avoid any minor and major second, and looked for all the possibilities how we can divide the octave, or we can insert notes into the octave without creating these major and minor seconds. And there are just these 7 possibilities with just adding 1 note. And we have 10 possibilities with adding 2 notes, and we have 1 possibility with adding 3 notes. So adding 3 notes is like this diminished 7th chord where we just have minor thirds. So dividing it even more, it's not possible anymore. Yeah, every insert of every other note would result in a major or minor second. If we want to add, if we're adding 2 notes with avoiding a major and minor second, we come up with only these, I mean like inversions, root position, only with the 4 traditional triads. Yeah, these vertical arrangements of stacking up thirds. That's quite interesting, actually. I mean, that we can say our basic triads, these 4 triads, major, minor, diminished, augmented, are the only ways how we can avoid a major and minor second in an octave, inside an octave. And you see this all on the page, so so I don't have to explain too much, because if you see that, I think it gets also very clear. Example 2 is then these 2 frameworks, 1 and 2, with this inserted third. So you can either insert a major and minor third you can always insert it in this fifth. Yeah? If there's a fifth, you can insert a third. If you have a fourth, you can't insert a third anymore. So a fourth would also result if you have a perfect fourth, for example. You can't put any note inside of that without creating at least a major third, a major second. So we want to avoid the seconds. And in example 2, actually, we just took the triads which have a perfect fifth. They're just 2 triads, major and minor. Yeah. So if we want to have this framework, this perfect fourth or perfect fifth, to really stabilize tonality, and we want to additionally have this one note added without creating any major and minor second, because as I said, there's always like tension and fight between those 2 notes. Then we only have the possibilities. The only possibilities we have is just major and minor triads. That's all. Nothing more is possible then. And I think that's very interesting, because in like the Western music, these are the triads. These triads, they can have like these functions, like the main functions, tonic, subdominant, dominant. These can only be like major and minor triads. Yeah, no diminished, no augmented chords. Although that's possible, of course, on the fifths. On the dominant, we can have an augmented chord. That's true. But it's not like we can't have this on like the tonality we will destroy immediately if we take the tonal center, the root of the tonality, and we build an augmented triad or a diminished triad. We will destroy it. So only the major and minor triads will give us the tonality, the gravitation towards the root, which is of course already very strong in just having a perfect fifth, but the triad will add color. Yeah, so the triad will add this minor, major flavor to this basic tonal framework construction, which is more like using only perfect intervals will result, I mean like a perfect fifth or a perfect fourth, will result in like a perfect kind of a construction. And a perfect construction doesn't really have this emotion of major and minor. it's a bit like a perfect fifth, you can say, is a bit like doesn't really have like this very emotional expression in a way. It's very well suited for establishing tonality, and of course it has sound and has a certain kind of attention, certain kind of a very strong mood and power. But it's not a real, you can say it's not a real mood. If you just have a perfect fifth, it's just very strong. It's just a very strong sound, and you need more notes to create this like emotions in a way. I mean, I think it's not. Maybe it's not really how what I'm saying here is not very. I may have not the right words for that. It's hard to express what I mean, but I think, like generally, I hope you get this idea. I mean, there's and of course this emotion in minor and major thirds, for example, they also come by combining, like, for example, different perfect fifths. You know, if you have like different perfect fifths played after each other, you create this. You are creating like relationships which are definitely not like perfect fifths, but also one note of the perfect fifth might be even the major third of another perfect fifth later. You know, I mean, you like, that's the way tonality works. It's not just one chord. It's like a progression, and every instant in a progression is influencing the previous and the past reception of these sounds. Is it clear? I think I have a bit trouble to explain really what I mean. Actually, I think like music just played, like just having a perfect fifth or just an octave or only a perfect fourth will not really result in any like nice thing. Maybe like rhythm is possible, of course, with two notes, and why not having like two pitches with a distance of a perfect fifth. But I think that's the main idea, the main step we are going when we inserting the third. It's the first major minor interval of the harmonic series, and major minor. There you have different qualities. You have actually quite a variety of major and minor thirds, also through the different cultures and intonations, and there like this expression is in a way, these emotions are lying there, because a perfect fifth can only be perfect, you know, can be perfect, like the intonation is just right to the cent, should be like 702 cents, otherwise it's a bit wrong, and it's not on purpose, you know, that we think, oh, this a little bit raised perfect fifths, or just a little bit, some sense, lowered perfect fifth sounds also very nice. No, actually, this is just one strong thing which all instruments, like instruments tuned to octaves, like string instrument, fourths and fifths. So that's a really different quality of these first like four partials of the harmonic series. When we go up from fourth partial up to the seventh partial, we have thirds. Yeah, we have these major and minor thirds happening. So we go up the partial, the harmonic scale or harmonic series, and then we come now, as we go higher, to these thirds. Yeah, so that's also something we just progress through that series now. And there's another, I had another interesting observation actually, that in a way, what's done in a bigger or greater version is repeated in the smaller one. So this you will definitely not understand what I just said, but follow me. If you have the perfect octave, then you can say, okay, I will divide this perfect octave into two parts. And this perfect octave you can divide into two perfect intervals. You can either, when you have this perfect octave C, you can either insert a G, then you have created a perfect fifth, and on top of the perfect fifth you have a perfect fourth. Or you can say, no, I divide this into a perfect fourth and a perfect fifth. So you can divide that into two perfect intervals, and you add two different ones, you add a fifth and a fourth, but they're both perfect, and that's like the division of the octave. Yeah, a division of the octave. And this principle you can just also apply if you take now this perfect fifth. So one kind of a division of the octave you take, and now you can say, okay, I have a perfect fifth. And this perfect fifth I can divide into a major third and a minor third, or a minor third and a major third. So I can change the order. It's the same as the perfect fifth and the perfect fourth. So I have two actually it's like the same interval, third, but I have these two variations, like major and minor. Now if we go on, we can say, okay, and a third we can divide into two equal, not equal. It's only one possibility where we can do that, but we can do it into two parts, yeah, into seconds. And we have major, minor seconds, and also we have augmented seconds that we really have to consider, because there are a lot of cultures also which use augmented seconds. Even in Western harmony, you would use that. Yeah, like in Bach's music, this jump or this skip from the major third of a dominant chord to the flat nines, to the lowered nines. Yeah, that's actually just an inverted, augmented second. Yeah, that really happens in that in music. It's yeah. So we include that, of course. It's not a minor third; it's an augmented second, and so we have actually these 5 possibilities how we can divide. I mean, 3 possibilities how we can divide a major third, and 2 possibilities how we can divide like inserting a second into in this case a minor third. And when we talk about seconds, we are actually dealing like major and minor seconds. We are dealing with like the partials following from 7. Yeah, if we go from the 7th partial, it's like the lowered minor 7ths of the fundament. So it's a big, you can say it's a big or large major second, and then partials 8 to 9 to 10 to 11 and so on, 20. They are all seconds, yeah. But this large major second gets smaller and smaller and smaller to become a minor second, and then become smaller to become a very, very small minor second, and then we kind of reach like different areas. Maybe we come to this comma in Turkish classical music, but which is never used actually as a musical interval. We never approach one note and go one comma and say that's a new note. No, then we would say that's just a little variation of intonation or something like that. So yeah, so and if we really go on with these partials, of course we talk more about like timbre and sound, and because like these harmonics, these higher harmonics actually also have a lot to do with the with the sound of a string, for example, vibrating, and yeah, these very more higher frequency range. But you have to check that out for yourself. We have like 2 lessons, I think it's only 2, about the harmonic series and how you play it on the guitar, and there we also have some exercises, and it's a good idea to go to that to be more aware of the harmonic series. I really recommend actually that you do that, because we are always referring to that harmonic series, because it's the law, the natural law of harmony, and yeah, we have. So okay, then example 4 is the idea to construct a very natural, or a very a scale which is really establishing tonality the best. So which is maybe the most resting and natural scale. I mean, there are different considerations, of course, and if you look at it from a different angle, you might come up with a different result. But the idea here is actually to just take our framework 3, to have all our perfect intervals, yeah, in 1 octave, C, F, G, C. So all the perfect intervals are there from C. Starting from C, we have a perfect 4th, we have a perfect 5th, and we have a perfect octave. Up and down. And now we say, okay, if we want to have seconds, we deal with 2 different kinds of seconds. We deal with major and minor seconds. And minor seconds, when we have two notes which are separated by a half step, these 2 notes are really fighting for their to rule, actually, for its domination. So either one says, I'm part of the framework, I'm the tonality, I'm a chord tone, I'm responsible here for the whole construction, and the other note will just say, nah, I don't like you. I mean, I don't like this. I want to be like you, or I'm disturbing you. You know, like that kind of, like a tension, like an approach, like a passing tone, like some auxiliary, which is like in a way like fighting a bit, and. Of course, it depends on how stable this other note is, how strong it's embedded in tonality, how much it will care about that. But that is something what you have to consider. If you have a half step, like one will be the dominant note, or the framework note, or the basic construction note, which holds the thing together, and the other note will in a way work against that. Yeah. very often you tend to not play them together, you know, or if you play them together, you have to. There are certain rules which have to make sure that this added note is not taking over the dominant part. Something. Anyway, you can just when you see like more complex chords or like chords in jazz especially, or when you add like the sevenths or nines to chords, you can see actually what happens, and that you add a nice color, but you add of course like tension. That's also, you call these notes tensions. In jazz they are tensions or extensions. Like tensions, they create tension. They add color but also create tension, and that's actually their color, to create tension. But anyway, to construct this most stable, natural kind of scale, the only thing we do, we add seconds to the framework 3, but we just take care that the half step will not be together with a note of the tonal framework. So when we have the framework C, F, G, C, then we have C, and we will not have a half step from B to C or from C to D flat. Yeah, that's too disturbing. We don't want that. We wanna have it more apart, that these notes are not fighting too much with each other. So what we do, we put the half step away from the framework tones, so we put it between the major second and the minor third, and between the major sixth and the minor seventh. And you see this also on the PDF notation. And when we do that, we come up with Dorian, the Dorian scale. And the Dorian scale is actually really like, if you look at the different cultures, I think it's really used in very many cultures. And also like Gregorian chant, this early style of Western music is like this Dorian sound is very strong. Also in like Turkish folk music, you have variations of this Dorian, of like Hüseyni and Uşak. They are kind of, or especially Hüseyni, the Turkish folk music makam. This is like also this Dorian, but creating maybe a bit more tension, a bit more expression, so to speak. And yeah, you have this as a raga, like Kafi Tat. Kafi is this raga, or Bimpalashri would be this Dorian scale. Yeah, so I like the scale also a lot actually, and it's also interesting because you can mirror the whole scale. Yeah, if you take the intervals going up, like major second up, minor second up, major second up, you can do the same thing down, major second down, minor second down. Then you end up with the same scale. It's the only scale in the church modes, Dorian, Phrygian, and so on, which gives you that. And yeah, so that might be an interesting. So what's written there? It's like an anagram. So backwards and forward and backward. It reads the same. That is maybe just to open another door here to also thinking about. It's an idea actually to when you have other scales, to in a way to relate it to the Dorian scale and see what is different in the other scale. But these are just ideas. It's as I said, I'm in this process, and I'm collecting things, and I think a lot about how music actually works, or what are the basic rules, and so it's a process. And maybe if you have some ideas would be really cool if you just put them in the comment field down below. Maybe you have some cool suggestions, and so it would be really nice actually. So when you look at example 3, actually you have these 3 different layers, and they correspond also with a harmonic series. Partial 1 to 4 are the perfect intervals. That's framework. Perfect octave, perfect fourths, perfect fifths. Then you have from starting with partial 4 up to partial 7, you have the thirds. You have like the chords, the triads, the material of vertical arrangements of chords, of harmonies, of these colors, which are more like stable, which you can stack up, vertically. Yeah, that's the idea of chords originally in like. I mean, of course, it took some time to come up with this kind. It was a kind of a development where at a certain point it was chords were described as being like stacked up thirds, and like there are also possible like inversions and things. So it's when chords came up, it wasn't immediately seen as that, but yeah, you can analyze chords always like stacking up stacking up thirds, and also the numbers of the higher notes like 11s, 9s, 13s, they actually result from stacking up thirds, and then starting from partial 7 up until 20 and even more, you have the seconds. There are all these seconds, all different kinds of seconds. Yeah, they get smaller and smaller and smaller, from a whole step to a half step, and every kind of a variation. And not every kind, but a lot of variations of that. In between of what we have in our equal temperament, 12-tone equal temperament. And that's the layer of melody, of melodic invention, of the normal progression, how the voice actually feels good, not to jump around, but to have more like also like speaking. It's a constant kind of a Of course, when you speak, you use actually quite large distances sometimes to in pitch, but they are like in a way like connected. You know, you approach them in a gradual way, like glissando kind of way, and I think so. It's just an idea. Anyway, but like mostly like melodies, I think in all cultures, they are basically the most prominent and important interval of melodies is a second. Yeah? It's steps, and then you come up with scales, and then when you have like when you can approach the octave by going steps, you mostly end up with 7 steps, not equal but different, and then you are satisfied, and you in a way you have all material to move freely around. You don't need anything in between anymore. You have the whole like tone pool. We talked about tone pool also for the music, for making music or melodies for a certain time period, and also the chords, of course. Also like, and then at the end it's all connected, of course. Yeah, you can. It's not like separated. It's like you can have a melodic leap of an octave, and you can make chords out of seconds and whatever. But you have a kind of there's a kind of a natural thing. And this I try to explain or come up with in this lesson. And yeah, I hope this is clear. This makes sense to you. And as I said, if you have any additional ideas, or maybe you think that was like you see it very differently, then yeah, let me know. Put it in the comment field below. And yeah, I hope we are done here, and I hope you enjoyed that lesson also. And please, if so, please subscribe to my channel and also click the bell button. There you get notifications if a new video will be released every week. It will be the case. And also you have the possibility to support my channel by doing a donation. Just follow the link down in the description below to my website, Huub Hildenbrand Guitar Academia. I mean huubhildenbrand.com, and then the Guitar Academia page. There you have a button where you can donate to make the whole thing working in a cool way. Yeah, it would be really cool. I would really appreciate that. Thanks so much. Thank you for watching. My name is Huub Hildenbrand.